Alrighty, I see some folks starting to pile in here for the live stream. For those of you that are joining right away here, open forum. So if you have questions for me, please get those in. There are no questions coming in. Just get to some different material. Just kind of go over some markets, I guess, and some scanning. Always say there's no planned material for this, so I really rely on you folks to drive the material. I'm going to give it another moment though here. Let folks continue to pile on in, and if again no questions come in, we'll take it in a direction here. SAG, there is no such thing as a bot you can plug in and have it make money. Something like that existed, we would all be doing it. The stock market would be easy and we would all be rich. You can create alert windows for automation. The general path of that is you have an idea of the type of scan you want to create. You then create that the best you could with the data points you can use in alert windows for that creation. You back test and optimize it to a degree. Once you believe that you had the strategy there where it may be safe for automation, you put it into our paper trader simulator, whatever you want to call that, test it there for a bit, and should it test well there, then you move to live trading. But again, it's very strange to me, so many people these days coming and think there's just a bot you can plug in and make money with in the stock market. If you ask the average person on the street, is the stock market easy to make money? And they would tell you no. There's no shortcuts or secrets or anything like that. It's like any other profession, hard work. So sorry to bust anybody's bubble on that, but there is no such thing as a bot. You just simply plug in and it makes you money. What are some situations? Screen saving, that's it. To save space on my screen. I would never use a multi-window myself. Just because I don't really use alert windows to start with. I'm mostly topless in races. I should say I'm all topless in races. And, if you just have one alert window, definitely no need for a multi-window at that point. If you've got 3 or 4 alert windows, and you just don't want them taking up so much real estate on your screen or screens, then you would have to then you'd want to head to a multi-window in that case. Multi-windows give advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, the advantage being that you've got a lot of screen saving or space saving like that. The disadvantage is if you are looking at history on multi-windows, their history is a little funny. I'm not going to go too far into that unless it's really a necessity. But essentially, with any of our windows, 1,000 is the maximum amount of symbols that can be in it. And so with a multi-window, if you've got 4 scans in there, each symbol is limited to 250 maximum tickers in there based on history. So things that you believe that should be there in history may get left off because of that limitation. So it's best when you're doing history, use the individual alert window. For consecutive candle filter, what defines an up candle? Vague on the website. It could be a red candle and be up, right? So if we've got, let's see if I can find an example of this here. Not going to give me one. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through charts. Usually a daily chart's easier to find these things with gaps. Maybe this SPY will do it. Wow, I cannot find an example of this here. Essentially, I mean, think about it like this, right? If we've got, here's a candle, right? Here's a candle. And let's just say these are both green candles, right? And then we get this candle here, and it's up here, but this is a red candle. That's still an up candle, still up. It opened here, closed here, versus these opened here and closed here. But that's still an up candle. It doesn't matter if it's on a daily time frame, 1 minute time frame, or a 60-minute time frame. But that's what constituted being up. And I believe, per our definition, the low here has to be higher than the low here, and the high here has to be higher than the high here, if I'm not mistaken. But let me open up the definition here just to make sure I'm doing that right. It's not a filter I ever use, but I know it's a filter that I get people coming in on occasion asking about it and have to go over it with them. Mostly via email. Consecutive candles. Yeah, the high is higher than the previous high, and the low is low is higher than the previous low for this right here. So that's what would get you that. So, I'll be honest, it's not the greatest filter sometimes because of these things where, you could have, quote, consecutive candles, but if they don't meet one of these items in here, you're not gonna get the alert you're looking for. And then for day trading purpose, how many minutes would you usually want each stock race to last for, and what do you usually use it based on? I think that's a personal thing, Midway. I wouldn't say there's any set hard and fast number. I can give you what I've done, why I did it, and then I didn't change it afterwards. So in here in my race setup, you can see I run mine for 3 minutes. I used to use 15-minute charts a lot. And so 5 races would equal a 5 3-minute races would equal 15-minute bar. So I used to do it like that based on that there, because I wanted the races to turn over quickly but relate to the candle itself. Sometime about a year and a half ago, give or take, I went to 5-minute charts, and I just left the races at 3 minutes. It impacted me negatively in no way. The other reason that I do like the shorter time frame races, I like to see how many times something is winning a race. Helps create more of a watch list for me throughout the day as well. So that's just my logic and thinking behind it, but there's no right or wrong answer on this. It's, like a cheeseburger versus a hamburger. If you don't like cheese, I can't tell you cheeseburger's great, right? That kind of thing. So SAG, this program, it's we're a data provider. So we have 500 different real-time data points that users can come in and either use pre-made scans, edit those pre-made scans, or create their own scans from scratch. Generally, the people that find the most success with our software, they have an idea of what they're trying to do in the market. They have a trading plan behind it, how and why they want to find and enter stocks and manage those trades. And they build scans based on those, or edit scans that we have that are close to what they're looking for. But then they take it to another level with a bit of editing there. We do offer some entry and exit points a few different ways. There's our virtual trading assistant, Holly, that will put real-time alerts with a suggested stop loss for you. And we also have our trade wave feature, which you can see here on my daily chart with these buy and sell signals on them. Those come in real time here. We do have a set of trade wave scans that just give you buy signals, but nothing is ever meant to be what I'm looking for. Nothing's meant to be financial advice, right? We're putting out suggestions and ideas. We're a data provider, and what you ultimately do with that data is up to you. If you're looking for someone to tell you what to buy, sell, hold, what to do, you need a financial advisor. That's what that would be. But as far as day trading goes, I mean, if you're really new to all this, what I would suggest is coming to these sessions every day at 12 p.m. Eastern, every market day at 12 p.m. Eastern. Ask some questions, whether they're general software questions or trader questions. Listen to the other talk that's going on around here. And then I would also suggest join our free live traders room. It's 100% free. And head in there, see the discussions that are going on, ask some questions in there going on. Because realistically, with trading, you're going to need to learn technical analysis. You're going to need to learn whether it's going to be moving averages, VWAP, relative strength index, envelopes, bands, whatever it is, that you end up settling on eventually. You probably learn a bunch of these things, use some or all of them, but they're like any other profession. There's no just stepping on and all of a sudden you're going to make money. And I know that's not what people want to hear, but that is the reality of it. So what you need to become a day trader, you need to understand candlestick charting or bar charts, either one. Whether you want to use I say, I don't know which one's more popular, to be honest. But the people that I learned from, which are part of this company, they all use candlestick charts. Sergio, why don't you go ahead and, all right, SMST, what time frame? Let's see if we can do this together real quick. SMST, what time frame were you looking at, and when do you think it should have triggered on a? We'll see if we can hatch that out right here now. 1 minute. Okay. And then, do you ever use stock composite rating? Nope, never use a stock composite rating. And I would say anything 85 and above would be good, but I don't use it. It's mostly technical analysis, but there is some fundamentals in there. I think debt to cash ratio might be one of the things in there, but don't quote me on that. So 9:34 a.m., 1 minute. And how many consecutive candles are we looking at? Because I can tell you right here, right away, this candle would mess up a consecutive candle right there. That's not going to work. So 1 and 2. I don't believe this is going to qualify for 3, and that certainly won't qualify. You'd be resetting here already. 1 and 2, and then you reset again. And as another troubleshooting metric we can do with this here, actually that one won't work. Let's do it with an alert window. I'm sure I can make this work with an alert window. We'll go with a new high and 5-minute high. Let's just throw a 5-minute low in there for good measure too. And we're going to go symbols list. We're going to point it at SMST, SMST. Let's look for consecutive 1 minute. We're going to show it as a column. Let's get rid of other columns. We don't need that or that or that. And let's bring this over here. And then we're going to go to time frame, the 27th. We'll call it 9:45. 9:45 a.m. 9:30 a.m. 27th. Right. And so starting right out from here. So this is the base candle here coming out of, I'm guessing, the pre-market. So one, and then it resets here. Why would you do that? Oh, because I clicked on that alert. That's why. Interesting. That did that. Huh. That's annoying. So 33, you get 1, 2, right? I do believe this works in the pre-market. Let me just do something real fast. Yeah, so that works in the pre-market. Double check that before I go quoting myself on things that aren't true here. Okay, so they don't use pre-market data frozen from the prior session. So this would be the first consecutive candle. And then this does not qualify, I believe. That's 1, that's 2. All right, that's 1, that's 2. And then here, we don't get it. Browser interface. Sorry, charts are being difficult with me here. And the browser interface gives me a better look at the candles. $930, $931, $931 to $932, $15. Oh, 15, okay. Yeah, so 2 consecutives at 33 right here. That's accurate. We'll have a 34 alert, which is a way for me to get a 34 alert. But yeah, that's accurate to here so far anyways. I don't have a 34. The next alert I can get is 936. See if I can find an alert that will get there. Here I'm on, this is 27 right here. You can see the date up here. Well, now I'm moving, you can't see it, but there, that's 27 right there. 27, 27, 27. If anybody else has questions, fire them in here, by the way, while we're doing this. I'm just seeing if I can get add some alerts in here for 934, 935. If I can get those alerts to come in, or if I can get any alert to come in at that point. But anybody with questions, don't hesitate. Tighten this down. 36, 30. Yeah, I can't find an alert at that time. Let's bring it to 38. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's an alert that wants to trigger in that time frame, though. So look, 30 is showing a 1, but it's carrying over from yesterday, from the 26th technically. So 31 is a 0, right? Because we start from 0. Does it carry over from yesterday? So we go 0, and at 32 we get 1, then 2. And this would not make a 3 here, because this doesn't count as any consecutive candle at this point. So because we're resetting the day here on that. So that's where you're probably getting tripped up there, Sergio. Can I send 4 different stocks to 4 different chart windows? I cannot find how to address a specific window. No. So symbol linking works like this. If we right click a scan and go into symbol linking, you can pick either link to all charts or link to an individual chart color. And then if you look at this chart here, you see how it's red up here. And if I right click the chart and I go to properties, symbol linking, it's linked to red. So you can't, you can send it to 4 different charts, but you'd have to have this linked to all, and then the charts linked to however you want to link the charts essentially. But you can't pick a multi-link in the sense that you can't here in the symbol linking for the alert window. You can't, well, there's only 4 to link to anyways. But you just have to have the chart and the scan linked to the same color or linked to all. So Sergio, let me know if you understand here. This candle doesn't count because we're resetting from yesterday. So we start here at 9:31, right? And we've got 0 in a row because this isn't an up candle. It's just a candle, right? This candle isn't up or down, right? It's just a candle. So we start from 0. And then at 9:32, we can begin the first count. And then, I mean, if you're not getting an alert, the only other thing that would hold you off an alert is another filter. But that's how this will work off the start, because there's no pre-market data and it starts at 0 or starts at 1 from yesterday. No, there's no colors in the web version for linking. It's all just one shot essentially. It's either link or unlink. Yeah, but you can see I can get alerts here with it, and it's showing me what the candle count is. So you just need to be within the candle count there. You don't get 3 here. That's the thing, right? This is 1. That's 2. 3 can't happen there. 3 can't happen there. 3 can't happen there because it's not consecutive. This candle is a null candle. This is your first candle to base the up off of. So you get a 1 count here and a 2 count there. And we can see that here. 933, we have a 2 count. 932, we have a 1 count. The 930 candle represents a 1 from yesterday, so it doesn't reset until 931. That's why 931 is a 0 count. So that's where you're tripped up off the open there, because there's no pre-market data coming into this. Here's yesterday's data because it's a regular hours filter only. We reset and then we move on. And again, I see a lot of people in here, so don't be shy, folks. Get me some questions in here. And then just to circle back on the web one here, go into the web. I'm going to bring this over here. Properties, symbol linking. So it's linked or it's not linked. There's no color scheme on this here. And that's just on the charts. So you can just unlink the charts. That's all. You got it, Sergio. Like I said, it's not, I don't know how I wish the filter was. There's something I wish there was different about the filter personally. It's a reason why I never used it in any of my scanning, was because every time I wanted it to work a certain way, I didn't get the alert that I wanted, essentially. Yeah, sorry, Manfred. We don't have something like that. You have to work within the confines of what we have in the software here. Right. So, you have these symbol linking options here. Link it to all the charts or link it to a specific color. And on the flip side with the charts, link it to all scans or link it to a specific colored scan or link it to a docked window itself. And so those are the options that we can offer as far as the linking goes. Let's get rid of that. Is it possible it may start recovering soon? I mean, it's been recovering for like over an hour now, right? Let's get out of this 5-minute chart here. So we bottomed here. We've been up for, let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So just over 2 hours, we've been trending back up for closing the gap here. So, I don't know that, I don't know, it closes the gap and we close positive today, but, some things I would bear in mind would be the fact that, the last real pullback we had in the market was here in September. I don't think that was a pullback by any stretch of any imagination. I wouldn't have considered that a pullback either. So this is the closest thing we've had to a pullback since September. And I mean, if this was a log chart, it wouldn't even really look like hardly a blip, to be honest. Now, I will say that, as I always do, a new bear market is going to start at some point. It doesn't just go bull market, bear market, right? We have a sell-off and a pullback, and then we move into a correction, and then a correction eventually corrections sometimes become bear markets, right? So could this be the beginning of all that? Absolutely, 100% it could be. Is it? Again, to the crystal ball comment, nobody has any idea whatsoever. Different things we could look at. I like my 20-day indicator here. This is the low point of 20 days. Kind of just hanging here on this stretch for a little bit. We can see sometimes these stretches go on for a little while. Some of these here, whatever you want to call these steps up and steps down. Some people are going to be looking at some different moving averages here. Where's my indicators? Oh, let's see. Probably a few, the most closely watched ones on the SMA side of things. Probably be looking at. Let's get a color that's probably a little nicer to see. Let's go with this red color here. And so, you're going to find people are going to be looking at this 20-day. We're below the 20-day now. So some people are going to consider that a fight to get back above that for the bulls to stay above. A lot of people have eyes on the 50-day, of course. Which we've now even dipped below the 50-day here, right? But I'll note, look how many times we've dipped below these before, right? So dip below the 50-day for a hot minute there and there, right? So it's been a while, May and then September again. So it's been quite a while since we dipped below this. And then, of course, the, oops, don't want that. And, of course, the 200-day. We got a long ways to go to the 200-day. It could happen fast. That could happen in a session or two, to be honest. It wouldn't shock me if it did. So those are levels that I'd be looking at for the deeper pullbacks and corrections to the downside, and if we'll have more legs or more room to run. I do find it kind of interesting that these two are likely to meet up in the next day or so. This last multi-period high there. So those are kind of areas I'd be looking at. Yep. That's exactly it, Linda. They linked specific to the chart here, and you can see the colors and the corners of the scans in the charts. So you see how this is red here on the race, this is red here on the top list, and this is red here on this chart. And I have another chart behind this here, and that's blue. That's linked to everything. So, it's funny that you asked that, Midway. This scan here is what got me back into day trading. So I was having some okay success swing trading. Nothing crazy, but it was my first consistent success ever. It started in the end of 2020 and through 2021. Now, look, it was a bull market, and I'd argue that you could even pick tickers out of a Scrabble bag and have done okay, because things just were going up in 2021. But bottom line is, I also didn't do well in the bull markets of 2017, 18, and 19. I did not do well during those periods of time, swing or day trading. So success is success, and you build upon success. Long story long is at the end of 2021, when market breadth started deteriorating underneath, and there's a lot of talk about us being topped out at that point at the end of 21 and the beginning of 2022, we had just come out with the races, and I was finding it hard on the swing trading side again. I was, starting to be, instead of eking out more wins than losses, I was break even to slightly going back the other way. And I said, holding stuff overnight keeps punishing me now. And so I went back and tried my hand in day trading. I actually went back and I was using our simulator at first, and I was having some mild successes with with this race scan here. And I did okay the first half of 2022 with the day trading. And the second half of 2022 was really probably slightly down that second half. Now, other things that I will note that were an influence on all this, I become more disciplined. I applied some of what I was doing with swing trading to the day trading side of things. And I was more secure about my stops and really, not exiting trades before my stop, because sometimes I was doing that where I was like, oh, this trade isn't working. I'm not waiting for the stop. And then it never would hit my stop in reverse. That would punish me that way. And then being disciplined that if my stop got hit, I got out. It was just more disciplined overall. So there were several factors, not just a single scan. I will share the scan though. And then I'll go over what that scan is. Share. What is the scan? Get the link here. Copy. And so just the behind the scan here, let me open the top list first. And in the configuration, what I've done is I said I wanted stocks between $2 and $30, trade at least 400,000 shares on the day. They got to be 85% above the lower Bollinger Band. And I just have a volume and intraday volume metric here to make sure that I'm getting stocks that are mostly actively trading. I don't want to see stocks that they trade 35,000 shares and they don't trade for 15 minutes. And they trade another 10,000 shares and they don't trade for 45 minutes. They trade another 5,000 shares. I want stuff that's, consistently being traded, among retail traders, essentially. I use the Bollinger Bands in reference to John Bollinger, who created the bands, and they were meant to be momentum indicators, actually. Breaking band upside, momentum upside, breaking band downside, momentum downside. Now, I will say that probably the most popular way to use Bollinger Bands is a revision to the mean. If you don't know what a Bollinger Band is, it is a 20-period SMA, or it's a 20 SMA, and the bands are 2 standard deviations above and 2 standard deviations below that SMA. John created them that a break of the top band is momentum upside, break of the lower band is momentum, indicate momentum coming into the upper downside like that. So I was looking for stuff with the scan that it's moving up, hasn't quite moved all the way up yet, but may be doing it. Then once the scan finds stocks that meet that criteria, I sorted them where I want the ones that are up the most from today's open to the top of the list here. So that's what we see on this top list here. So these will be the stocks that are coming in first. You can see how they match up with what's racing here. And then I said, once we're there and we're racing, in the race setup, I said I want us on a change from open total and sorting on the change from open and descending order as well, which gives us what this looks like here. And so whatever is up the most from the open as a total cumulative is what's going to win the races here. And that's essentially what I did with that there. For whatever reason, the races spoke to me better than alert windows did. Now, one thing I will say is this. Up until 2022, every alert window I ever built was basically a new high alert catalyst. So if we come into an alert window here, we come to the search, I always just use the new high alert. I never experimented with any of these other alerts up until, I don't know why, sometime in 2022, I started messing around. One thing I learned is that, or one thing that happened to me was using the new high alert. It just seemed to be, I would always buy basically the last new high of the day, and then I'd get punished afterwards. It's just the way it worked for me. There's more to it, obviously, and how that I didn't have a solid trading plan, probably some laziness in my chart reading, things of that nature. Lack of knowledge, lack of experience, of course. I have no financial background, just for reference for everybody. I didn't go to school for any kind of finance or anything like that. Everything I know about trading, I learned through Trade Ideas with Barry in the traders room. There's other folks in that traders room that, added. Some of them aren't there anymore, unfortunately. But I learned a lot from them, from their posts and just reading along with their stuff. There are a few great traders in there still, don't get me wrong. And there used to be more webinars that we did here. Andy, Jamie, Steve did a lot of webinars. They converted the webinars to this 12 o'clock session, essentially, where it was every day during market hours versus what they were doing before. But that's where I learned, the bulk of what I learned. I didn't, Steve would talk about a 15 SMA or a 10 SMA on a 15-minute chart. I'd go ahead and web search that to understand what that meant. So I think that's important context for anything that I talk about here, is that, I didn't know any of this stuff. So that's my story on the 2022 bear market. Um, yeah, of course, Midway. I have 4 times the same scan with different colors and can send one stock from each scan to the corresponding. Can you define messes up my system? And then how many other scans are you running? How much other software are you running? How many charts do you have open? Um, right, there's probably more to dig at there, Manfred. The first thing I would do if I was to try and troubleshoot this is I would close everything except the charts and the scan itself, and then slowly add things in to see where something gets tripped up, essentially. That would be how I would handle that. Gotcha. But do you have other top lists open? Do you have alert windows open? Do you have price alerts open? Do you have brokerage plus open? Do you have market explorer windows open? Do you have compare count windows open? There's a lot of things that factor in. Generally speaking, whenever someone tells me that, they're slowed down or things are reacting slow or not clicking through properly, I'll find that they have like 7 top lists, all of them with 1,000 count records, 6 alert windows, all of them with like 15 selected alerts and 20 columns in them and things like that. So you have to remember, everything on here is pushing data back and forth. Think of the data going back and forth as going back and forth through a fire hose. And at some point, when you start to put too many things up on the screens, you're trying to shove a watermelon through a fire hose. And then, the other thing is, reasonable linking. Indicators. Putting a little web again. They should just all be listed there if you go into any chart. Indicators. Yeah, so you've got everything that the download has there. So this whole list that's here for you. And then, you can customize periods where applicable. Obviously, something like, VWAP doesn't have a period to it. Volume doesn't have period. Stuff like that. But what we got there's no difference between those. And again, I see those are some of the higher numbers that I've seen in this live stream in a while. So anybody with questions, it's open forum here. Got a few minutes before I got to take off. So come one, come all with the questions. Don't be shy. Sorry, I'm scrolling back through just to make sure I didn't miss anybody's questions in here. I think we've gotten to everybody. Oh, and then, Manfred, I think I misunderstood something. You wanted 4 different stocks and 4 different windows. So, like, you could do this. Let me pull open a new chart here. Like, I could take a new chart. Let me let me unlink first. And then duplicate. Now, if I change this here, this stays on. This will move to Apple, right? It's unlinked, and this just stays here. And I go Tesla here, right? So you can do that with the unlinked charts, and you could just stick a chart on whatever stock you want it to be. Or, you can, once you get it there, then you can unlink it afterwards too, if you want to stay on that as well. I don't know if that would help you at all there, Manfred. How are symbol lists handled in the web version? I believe there's a spot for it, no? If not, you can do it through a web page. Yeah, symbols list. It's right there under tools, just like in the download. Tools. Come on, symbols list. That brings you to the web page here, and you'd handle it that way. And you can edit whatever you want in here on your personal list. Yeah, so, well, Sergio, a couple of things with that. When you start a new anything, they have some defaults in there, and it remembers, for lack of a better term, hold on, sorry, I got to reset my connection because I was on the web. Bear with me while I reset. And so, it may remember some of the different filters you were seeing in there. Anything you have saved as a column will always stay in the Windows specific filter tab. But what you can do is, and this is what I did, I went through and I just put in these as columns here. So if you look at my columns, that's all that's in there. And I set this up. They're all blank. Everything else is blank like this. And I set my default alert to be crossed above resistance. And in the summary, I named it new alert window. And once I did all that, I right-clicked the window. I right-clicked the window and selected Save as Default. And now every time I open a new alert window, this is what it will look like, that. And then I can start from, that's my quote, starting from scratch, like that. And you could do that with top lists. You could do that with charts, so every time you open a new one, so every time you open a new, whether it's a chart list, alert window, multi, single stock, whatever it is, they will open how you saved it as a default. And so that's how that would go. What is the best thing about trade ideas? That's like asking what's the best thing on a menu at a restaurant. I tell you the sea bass, and you tell me you hate fish. Well, then we're at an impasse, right? I'm very partial to the races, quite personally. I'm also partial to our compare count windows. I'm a big fan of our compare count windows. I use this one here, 30-day market breadth, I call it, highs versus lows. And this gives me a pulse of how risk on or risk off I'm feeling currently. So, those are big to me. If you were to talk to Barry, he would tell you our alert windows without any question. I think Andy is more partial to our top lists, quite personally. But if you're listening, Andy, let me know if I'm wrong. So, each person's going to have their own individual item here. That's, we'll call it their thing. What I would say I'd say what sets us apart from everybody else is our live data, right? So, this doesn't need me to refresh it, or I don't have to plug stocks in to see what meets it. It just, if a stock meets my scan, I'm going to get it and in real time. And that's it. There's nothing else I need to do. Program it. Done. There's no refreshing. There's no feeding. There's no anything else. Nobody else can do that like we can do that. So I guess I could call that the best thing about us. Aside from where I was going with best feature, you know, 3 years ago I'd have told you, or 4 years ago I'd have told you alert windows were our best feature, right? I wouldn't tell you that anymore. Just not because it's not the best feature. It's because I just don't use them like that. Although I have considered creating an alert window based on these races now and trying some different alerts with them. And then you have to use the desktop version. So SAG, you don't have to, but what you see that I've got going on here, there isn't a mobile version for this kind of customization here. Mobile version wise, all we would have is our market dashboard, which I'm going to bring over for you. Bear with me. This is our market dashboard. This is mobile friendly here, but there's no customizations in here outside of like this today's biggest winners. Well, I can see the change over the last 30 minutes, or I can see the change over the last change from close or change from open, whatever I want to change it to from here like that. So that's the only real customizations that's in there like that. You can do your own watch list. There is this paper trader that's in here that you can do as well. There are some different scans throughout this as well. You can play around with them there too. Our free version is of this dashboard here with a number of things that you can do in here with that. So don't be, if you want to sign up for a free account, it'll give you a limited time each week and delayed data. But you could play around and see some of the different kind of scanning and idea generation, things like that go on there. It's a decent free foot in the door. Let me get you a link to sign up for that. Bear with me while I look for a link somewhere. Free account sign up. There you go. So if you don't have a free account already, and this goes for everybody and anybody, you're welcome to sign up for one there. And this market dashboard here is what you get. RWA, my trade ideas doesn't have the racing. You're on the web. So for a web user, RWA, you're going to need to use the dashboard for the racing. The web desktop does not have the racing in it, but you have all these different races inside the dashboard. So that's what you'd have to use. Here's the dashboard link. And then you'd have to toggle back and forth with delayed data and live data here between the desktop web and this web here. And you can just toggle delayed and live right here, just like that, because it's one login at a time. That is an exchange rule. That is not our rule. The exchanges do not like us for whatever reason. They give us a very hard time about data. All kinds of comments can be made about that, but it is what it is. We have to abide by their rules. Whenever, it's why we're only licensed to non-professionals. And if we get caught with a professional hiding in our midst, they fine us. They don't fine them. They fine us every time it happens. And it's not like a $5 fine, to say the least. So, and it happens more often than we like, but, people like to lie, and, it is what it is. We get stuck with the penalty of that. So anyways, that's why it's one login at a time per account. Nothing we can do about it. If there was, we would have done it a long time ago. One thing you can do, though, that doesn't violate the exchange rules is with this, you can have multiple tabs of this. So I can have, my watch list as a tab here, and I could have the momentum waves as another tab, right? And these could all be live. I could put all these to live, and that doesn't violate the exchange rules. It's because of the API logins to to the data that they can see. This is all one API login. The desktop web is different. The download is also different. So we use Quad through Nextcore or Nextcore through Quad, however the heck that works. Flash SEC and FactSet. We're looking into doing something else again. Flash SEC was filling in some holes, and then all of a sudden they weren't. So we'll see how that all goes. I know it's on the top of Brad's list. Brad really handles all that stuff like that. And I know it's on the top of his list to try to seal up some of these holes that keep appearing on us every time we seal one up, another one appears. Kind of annoying. I'm glad that I'm not tasked with dealing with it. I always feel bad whenever I got to point that out because Brad on the back end of things he's involved in everything, so he's always being pulled in 40 different directions. And it's hard, trying to manage all those things. And then, sorry, I'm catching up on the questions here. So SAG, if the race chart, I see a stock that went up 30% from the opening. It's up 30% from the open now. That's not saying that it's sorry, let me close these out. So that's saying 30 minutes. Over the last 30 minutes, how much percent it's up. So for example, now this is delayed data, so I have no idea what some of this is, but POLA, based on the 15-minute delay, had been up the most over the last 30 minutes. That's why it's the largest here. That's how that works. So it's not up 30%. It's over the last 30 minutes. What's up the most? That's what you're looking at with that there. Something I'm curious about. If the market is closed on Sundays, why do some of my alerts still go off on Sundays? What alert is going off on a Sunday? Also, there'll be, if you're talking about price alerts, what happens is there's late pool and dark settlement prints that don't show on all data providers all the time. And so that can trip you up for the price alert specifically. I only use trade ideas, going without rehatching my whole trader journey. But I knew nothing about markets. I knew nothing about trading. And in 2017, I was sick of doing what I was doing, and I wanted to become a day trader. I asked someone if they could teach me, and they said no, but go join this free traders room and these webinars, which happen to be Trade Ideas Trading Room and their webinars. And they said, think about, take some notes and figure out if you really want to do this. It's extremely hard, blah, 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 high fail rate, this, that, the other thing. And so I linked into Trade Ideas, and I just never looked back. I've never used another tool. So I don't have anything to compare it to. I did not have early success. It took me 2 solid years before I stopped losing consistently. That's just stop losing consistently. That's not making money, just to be clear. So I don't like to sell anybody any dreams here. Trading is hard. There's no two ways about it. There are no shortcuts. There are no magic bullets. There are no cheat codes. There is hard work, and hard work promises you absolutely nothing, unfortunately. So, it took me a solid 2.25 years maybe 2 1/3 year before I started having my wins outweighed my losses. Probably 2 1/3 years, not quite 2.5, but definitely more than 2 1/4. And the biggest, if I'm being fully honest with myself, not with you all, my biggest issue was discipline, really staying true to my stop losses, and not letting winners turn into losers. I know there's a saying, let your winners run, but I think that comes later on. That came later on in trading for me. I needed to learn to just harvest winners at first, because I would get up, let's just say for, example's sake, I'd get up $10 in a trade and I'd let it reverse, and then I'd be down $10, and I let it go by my stop, and then all of a sudden I'm down $50 in the trade, and I take it for a $75 loss, right? And the same thing kept happening to me over and over again, where if I just kept taking that $10, I'd have been golden probably 6 months into trading, to be honest. But I just, for whatever reason, couldn't do it, didn't do it, wouldn't do it, whatever you want to call it. And I suffered greatly for it for years. It just was what it was. And then again, the same thing. If my stop loss was going to be so I'd have a $10 loser, I'll just hang on for 3 more cents. I'll just 5 more cents. Oh, you know what? Well, we're in a bull market, so I'll hold it overnight. And the next thing I know, the stock gaps down. So a $10 loss all of a sudden was becoming a $100 loss. Tenfold on the loss, simply because I could not hold true to a stop loss. It is what it is. I can't find momentum wave indicators like on your chart. So you need to be on our latest download beta, Chloe. So the first thing you got to do is, bear with me. We'll walk through this together. So come to our download page and I'll give you the link. Hold up. So download, and then make sure you're the beta here, because a lot of people just see this right here and they go and download that. That's the production version. You want this, the beta version. Once you're on that and you've launched it, then right-click your chart. Make sure that use browser interface is checked. And if that's checked, you'll see an FX here on the top left. Go ahead and click that, and you hit the trade wave, and you'll have that come on. And then there's some settings you can adjust in here, where you can show just the last couple of flags, display more or less. If you want, you can change the EMAs within it and the cloud opacity and stuff like that. Unless you have a reason behind why you want to change these, don't. I would just say that. If you're just looking to learn and experiment, then yeah, go ahead, because you can always just reset it. But there's not like, unless you have a reason you like a different set of EMAs and periods and all that stuff like that, I don't think there's going to be much of any benefit whatsoever. And just let me know that you were able to get that. If not, I'll go back over it. I know maybe I went fast or something like that, so I don't want to leave you hanging. I want to make sure that you get what you need out of this, right? Holy smokes, folks, it's 1:04 p.m. on the eastern seaboard of the United States. Would you believe that? If there are questions, I'll stick around. Normally, we do these for about an hour. So I started at noon Eastern. I'm more than happy to stick around if necessary. So if you folks have more questions, don't be shy. Keep the questions coming. Happy to answer those questions. If there are no more questions coming, of course, I will begin my wind down. But again, I'm happy to stick around. So if you want me to stick around, throw some questions in there. But are there any clues? There could be lots of clues. That doesn't mean the clues will be right, So one thing you can start to do is start counting how many stocks are making new highs versus new lows on some different time frames, right? You can also count how many stocks are above or below, let's say, a 50 or 200 SMA. Those are two things I would look at right away. That's why I like my compare count window here. Now, I could do more with this than I do, but I just watch it every day. When this thing is green, 50+% consistently, we're rocking and rolling. When we're going this way, the more days it's going that way, the more I'm looking at a correction happening, right? Um, those are the things that I would be looking at. What I would stay away from is the news. Do not listen to any, I'm not saying don't listen to any news, but what I will say is this, fear sells, right? Clickbait sells. And so you go through and you look through YouTube videos and whatever everybody's doing out there. That's a quote market expert. I think you'll find that 90+% of them have been predicting market crashes every day for the last however many years. And they're all right once a decade, give or take. So not exactly a great, not a great record to be sitting on. But doing things like this, that it takes work, right? It takes work. The other, you can data mine a lot of this stuff. If folks are really into that with spreadsheets and stuff like that. So this is an alert window at its core. And you could create these as alert windows on their own and then data mine that by using our alert logging tool. So like if we come to configure and I go to configure the green data, see how it's an alert window here. I've got some metrics in there, and then it's the same thing on the red data, configure. And so I could create this as an alert window. I know what it is at its core, so I could go like this. Go new, alert window. I'm going to take a new high. I'm going to add that. Put a check mark there, hide unused. Put a 30 here. That's how it gets to 30 days, right? And this does count weekends. So you look, 52-week high equals 365 days in a year, right? I want to see average volume. I think average volume, I put like 250,000 a day or something like that. Price was $1 or something like that. And then, I can take this alert window here and I can put the alert logger on and it will send all the data that I want in this to a spreadsheet. I'd probably want to change the data differently in this if I was doing that. And I could go through and start counting stocks versus making new highs, over 30 days. And then I can right click, I can flip this window, or I could duplicate it actually, because I'd want to run both windows. So I could duplicate this, configure, flip it, and now it's the new low side, and then I can send a set to the same thing. I can alert log it, and then I can look at the new highs versus new lows and see all the stocks that are doing it, and I can count them and say, gee, today 300 stocks made new lows and only 30 made new highs. That's a bearish indicator. Now, they're in bull markets, we're going to see it do that. And all of a sudden, we do it for 3 days out of a month. And then we're, 15 days in the month and trading days into the month. And, 10 of those days have been bearish. We're looking at, probably more bearish price action coming around. So that's, that's just a, one way that you could do that with our software here like that. Yes, exactly, Pepe. It is what it is. Fear sells. 99.9% of people out there that are, trading experts and selling newsletters and stuff like that, they're probably just index investing, if that even, and they're just selling newsletters for $10 a month or $50, whatever they're doing, it is what it is. If they can make a profit on it, good on them, and shame on the people for falling for it. That's not to say there isn't good newsletter services out there from actual traders too. There's plenty of that. So don't kid yourself. But it's always good to do a little research and follow along and see what the type of people there are. And again, stay away from people that know what the market is going to do. Anybody that knows what the market is going to do, what they do know how to do is separate you from your money, is what they know how to do. Again, that's why I like to be very transparent about my trading here. I am very okay at trading, very okay at it. I am no expert. I am no guru, and I will not be driving a Lamborghini. I will not be driving a Lamborghini unless I hit a huge lottery, ever. Also, I'd never buy a Lamborghini, neither here nor there. But my real point being is that I'm not setting the world on fire. If it wasn't, if it wasn't for working for trade ideas, I'd probably have to do something else at least part-time. to derive some more income, because my trading income alone couldn't support everything for me. Or I don't know, maybe it could, but then I would never I would never go out to a dinner again, or buying a new car at some point when I've got to get a new car would be mighty challenging, to say the least. So I just think it's better to be transparent about stuff like that, instead of trying to sell you on, oh my God, I'm so rich, look at me, I'm the greatest. That doesn't benefit anybody. But I also like to reiterate, my trading woes are mostly self-inflicted. They're mostly self-inflicted. I would 100% agree, Midway. That's something I never really much thought about until recently, also because when I was first trading, I was working in restaurants as a bartender, server, manager, whatever. And while that was my source of income, I felt all this pressure trying to trade and to get away from doing that. And when Trade Ideas brought me on, a lot of that pressure was gone. It wasn't gone, but it was not the same. Especially because now I was working in a market environment, doing what I wanted to do adjacent to trading itself. So, without a question, it positively impacted what I'm doing. Yeah, absolutely. So first, let's do this. Chloe, I want you to go to help and then go to about. And can you confirm it says 5.6.104? Just please go ahead and confirm that for me. And again, just in case, help and about, and just confirm that that's 5.6.104. And another thing that's maybe more simplistic, you could simply just keep a running tally, on like a market breadth, whether you're doing 30 days, 100 days, 200 days, whatever you want to do. Just keep tally on a spreadsheet, Google Doc, on your own, and say, all right, Monday was red, Tuesday was green, Wednesday was red, Thursday was green, and keep a running total, and maybe add those up at the end of each month or something like that, or every 10 days, whatever you want to do. And that'd be a more simplistic way of kind of keeping track of where we're at. This has been mixed over the last few weeks here now, since this sell-off day. Oh, and also a video here on the trade waves too. The video I did. But if you can just let me know to confirm you're on the beta version before I go any further. Another moment here, and then I'll just kind of go on it and hope that you catch up. All right, so hopefully you're on the beta, and once you're on the beta, you're going to right-click the chart, make sure use browser interface is checked. Watch, uncheck it, and I'll go ahead and check it. And if that's checked, you see the FX up here. We're going to go ahead and click on that FX, and we'll hit Trade Wave, and it will appear for us, just like that, just like you see on my chart there. And I'm going to give another moment for you here to confirm that. Anybody else out there, don't be shy. If you got a question, get it in. I'm on a bit of overtime right now with this, but if a question comes in, I'll hang to answer it for sure. If not, I will begin to wrap this up. Got it. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. All right, so if no other questions are coming in here, folks, first thing I'm going to do is say, if you are not in the Traders Room with Barry, you're doing yourself a great disservice. All right. This is the link for the Traders Room. Barry is, I'm certain, back from his break at this point because he takes a break around noon Eastern. Barry is as professional as they get. He's never going to tell you what to buy, sell, hold, or anything like that, but he can help answer a lot of trading questions, answer lots of questions about the software. There's other great folks in there that are very helpful, very, very helpful folks in that Traders Room. So you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not in that room. That room is free to anybody, period. You don't even need a Trade Idea subscription to be in there, right? But if you're kicking the tires, you're trying to figure out if the software is right for you, that room is a great place to be around. So, and again, we do this every market day at noon Eastern. Today's Monday. I won't be here tomorrow. I mean, I'll be here tomorrow, but I won't be doing a live stream tomorrow. It's possible I'll do it Wednesday, but I can't promise. So I don't see you folks again before the calendar turns over to January. Have yourselves a happy, happy new year. If I do see you, I'll wish you a happy new year second time. And again, I thank you all for coming. Really appreciate all the questions, the comments, and the interactions. Greatly, greatly appreciated. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Monday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.